Hello, this is Michael Nicola. Welcome to the Dash Show. Today's topic is banning junk mail. There's junk mail flying all over the place. We all know it. It's good for some businesses. It generates profits. But at the same time, we Canadians, we like to say that we try to protect the environment, and this is not going well. So we are using too much paper, too many chemicals. The question is, should we ban junk mail? Enjoy the show.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Dash Show. My name is Craig Fay, and on this episode we're talking about the environment, and specifically junk mail. I'm sure we've all been there. When we get home, you find your mailbox crammed full of letters. You're expecting it to be full of letters from your grandmother, wishing you a happy birthday, and maybe a subscription to Obscure Interest magazine, and find it to be full of flyers for 6-for-1 pizza and a 50% off sale at Dutch Ottoman Warehouse. So today we're talking about junk mail. We've got a couple everyday normal people off the street to ask some questions, and a couple experts here to answer it. So starting from the left, we have Nella, we have Evgeny, Paul Bies from Mistique.Ca, and Ray Glowa from Green Age Media. Evgeny's got the first question, so Evgeny, whenever you're ready, let's get an answer from our experts.
Yes. Hello, Paul and Ray. I have a question. I receive this junk mail every time in my mailbox. I check it daily, and recently I received one which suggesting me to buy a cemetery lot for myself. I think it's a little bit too early. So what can we do to remove it from my mailbox?
My biggest concern with junk mail is we're currently killing 100 million trees per year in North America, and of course we won't even talk about climate change, but trees kind of heal the planet. Canada Post posted on their website that 63% of Canadians want junk mail banned. So voteincanada.com, the online party, we can now make it legislative that we are no longer allowed to have unsolicited junk mail. If we want the junk mail, that's a different story. If you subscribe to a local newspaper, that's absolutely completely approved because you approved of it, whether they charge for it or not. I'm really positive with the way the world is going. The city council has just banned phone books by 56% on city council. A very large U.S. city in Washington has just banned phone books. So we are just on the edge of banning junk mail in Canada.
So I think the question though is, what can you do now to get rid of junk mail, correct?
You can, I posted on greenagemedia.com that you can go to the Canada Post website and put your address into their opt-out list. They can no longer send you junk mail. I've been verbally told by Canada Post, if you put no junk mail on your mailbox, they can no longer put mail in your mailbox.
Is it possible to choose which one I want to receive and which one not?
By subscription only is your best bet, or go online and subscribe to that particular company's gravesite and say, yeah, I would like to die and be buried at this cost. And you can go on their email list and reduce your paper carbon footprint.
No, I agree. If you want to reduce your junk mail, you can contact the Do Not Contact list. That will eliminate some of it, not all of it. That only applies to people that are part of the, well, in this case, the Direct Marketing Association's Do Not Mail list. The Canada Post one, you still see the red dot campaign with red dots that go on, do not put any junk mail. That can work as well to eliminate some of it.
What about newspapers? Like when I buy a newspaper, so I subscribe to newspapers and I receive additional advertising inside the newspapers. Can I reduce this footprint on?
I've been trying for years. I don't know how to reduce that. That's all based for the advertising. A lot of the local newspapers, their revenue is generated from advertising. So the more advertising they get, the revenue they generate. So it would be almost impossible to get them off of it until stuff where the no junk mail sort of would come into play to reduce that amount of advertising.
What I don't get is do people actually still read newspapers? Is that a thing that's still going on? I don't know.
I think they still read them. A lot of people are now reading them online. The local ones, I think there's a lot of people that want the local information. It's just annoying when you have to dig through an inch of junk mail to actually read it.
And when you go online, you have all the pop-ups and they're jumping into your face, and then you need to press on X, and when you press on X, you open another window, and then you close this window, you have another 20 windows. You need to vote yes or no. Have you understand this window? Do you want to close it? And you say yes, I want to close it, and it opens another window.
But you can eliminate pop-ups too.
Yeah.
On your browser.
Unfortunately, it doesn't always work.
I think no matter where you get your news, you're going to have this problem, I think is what we can decide. I think, Evgeny, did that answer your question? Do you now know how to get rid of a little more?
Now I'll call Canada Post and I put a big red dot on my mailbox.
Big red dot, solution everything.
Should be a green dot.
Good point.
Doesn't says green dot. That mean put more junk mail into my mailbox.
No.
Red stop, green go. I think that's the standard, isn't that right?
Can you define actually what is junk mail?
Junk mail, in my opinion, is the 40 pounds per month that we're getting. Now, we are here for the Online Party of Canada. 10 million homes get 40 pounds of junk mail per month. You can do the math on this. And now the taxpayers are actually paying for the recycling programs. Unless you live in Manitoba, they just landfill it and build a school on it. But you know how life works here. I don't even think they have a bottle recycling program in Manitoba yet. But it's so wrong to the taxpayer to have to pay for this recycling program of this 50 pounds of junk mail that we get per month. And this little old, 86-year-old lady has to take this to the curb and recycle it. I just think it's really wrong, and the taxpayers are paying too much money to dispose of this junk mail.
Can you quantify the savings for a taxpayer if, let's say, 50% of the Toronto population would subscribe to not mail list?
I honestly believe if we actually had a vote in Canada, that 90% of the people would want the junk mail banned. I've been asking people, I've been getting followers on Facebook to ban junk mail, and then all of a sudden, about a year ago, I typed in ban junk mail in Canada, and I found the Online Party of Canada, and that's actually why I'm on this call today. We have to go with the internet. It is the green age. It is time to change. We can no longer kill 100 million trees a year. We currently consume 80 million barrels of oil a day, and that's trucking our junk mail to these houses, and that black diesel smoke going into your kids' lungs is just getting beyond annoying. And I understand you have a pollution issue in Toronto.
I'd be interested to hear from Paul exactly what his definition of it is. I think it might be a little different.
Well, junk mail to me is mostly non-personalized mail. While personalized mail can be aggravating as well, I still think that the majority of junk mail is stuff that is just bulk marketing. It's not personalized to you. It's not saying, okay, by you being at a certain age, of a certain demographic, that this offer may appeal to you. I think that junk mail is more bulk marketing, non-personalized. And I have to agree that with certain demographics, the one 18 to 34 even, when asked how they would prefer to be reached, would be online or whatever, the majority, about 64%, said, yes, I want to be contacted by email. Surprisingly, though, 25% said, please send me paper information. They still want to read.
Interesting.
25% of people also say, I read and agree to the terms of service on iTunes too, but that doesn't mean that they actually read it.
True.
So, like a lot of Canadians, I do consider myself to be an environmentalist in principle. Actually, really only in principle, though, because while I agree that we should be doing more about climate change, I'll then go home and have a 40-minute shower. I also know that there's something out there called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is a giant floating island of garbage. twice the size of Texas, where plastic outnumbers living things 43-1. I'm aware that exists. That disgusts me. But I still buy milk in a plastic bag, which isn't even a plastic bag. It's 3 plastic bags in a plastic bag, which I take to the checkout, put in a plastic bag, and say, it's pretty heavy, I don't want it to rip, better double up on the bags. And that's not even the worst part at the grocery store. I've actually seen whole coconuts wrapped in plastic. Coconuts. Like, here's a thing that will float across literally thousands of miles of open ocean to seed new life on a volcanic island, and we're going to protect it with a millimeter worth of cellophane? I don't think so. Oh, maybe it's on there though to seal in the freshness, right? Because the kind of freshness that you can only normally get at with a machete. I guess I feel like a lot of Canadians, I don't really know what it means to be an environmentalist. Like, for example, I was sitting there waiting for the bus one day, and I just spent $12 on a curly light bulb, so I was feeling pretty good about myself. And there was this guy standing there, and he had this clean-cut, nicely dressed, and he had this McDonald's cup, and he was sipping on it, and he stops and he looks at it, it's empty, and then he just chucks it in front of the bus, and then stands there like nothing happened. And I was just like, you jerk, this is 2011. You can't just throw your garbage on the ground. You need to pick it up, put it in a trash can so that we can pay somebody to take it to the dump and throw it on the ground. And that's when I sort of realized, what was I really mad at this guy for, right? Like, here he is throwing with this paper cup, which has this plastic straw, because we as a society are too lazy to do this, and this plastic lid in case we accidentally do this. And he's throwing it into a dead, desolate street where it's only going to bother the people who actually created the problem. Whereas I want him to truck it out to the country and throw it in some stinking pit where there should be, like, deer and dolphins and things. So, and that's why I litter now. That's why I litter now, for the planet. Because I figure we as a society are sort of at that point where we're that kid whose mom keeps cleaning up after us. We can make as big of a mess as we want, and we never have to deal with the consequences. I litter now so that we can move as a society towards being that college kid who wakes up in a pile of dirty laundry surrounded by beer bottles and empty pizza boxes and goes, Jesus, I need to stop living like this.
That was a good discussion. I, for one, would vote to ban junk mail. I don't think it's worth the impact on the environment, and I think the alternative, which is spam, it's much better because it doesn't affect the environment. So that's my vote. But you can have your own vote. You can go and comment on the website, www.onlineparty.ca, and tell us what you think. Thank you.